Inbound marketing automation, and we'll define into lots of things. We have for those of you that don't know us, Green, and we have Brooke and Chantel back there. This is our picture we just took last week. We do all kinds of WordPressy things for WordPress, I think 12 and a half years. 7, so. Allthingswordpress.com, LinkedIn group, a Google Plus community, Facebook group. We get questions answered between meetups, and you get stuck in there, and others in here can help you solve it. You do that way pretty well. We also have a Slack team. We allthingswordpress.com/Slack for Q&A if you ever need. It's not hot, but we love Slack internally, so we're hoping that one gets going. Slack is wonderful, so come help us make that one wonderful. Upcoming stuff. This month, Diana, who is not here today, but Aaron, their little meetup. Actually, they'll have Micah Wood, who is a brilliant WordPress developer. Understanding functions.php and hooks and filters and all that stuff. So if you're a developer, it'll be phenomenal. If you're not, don't come, because you'll be very lost. But Micah is phenomenal. Micah is awesome. So if you ever want to know more about functions.php and hooks and filters and all that stuff, it'll be great. That's a week from today in here. The next week is Kathy Druin's meetup. She's going to be doing a non-designer's color guide for your website workflow. She did ambiguous, I think, on purpose, so she can.
Well, since I'm not in the floor plugging things in, it basically means how to use some design tools when you're not a designer.
There you go. Very nice.
People like me.
Yeah, it's a lot of us, so it works out. So that is 2 weeks from today, May 12th at 6:30 p.m. over at the East Cobb Government Center. Meetup.com/AtlantaWP, WP Atlanta. There it is. Meetup.com/WP Atlanta. The next week, we have a lot going on here. Back in here, so 3 weeks from today in here, we'll talk about WordPress plugins for everything. I want that to largely be, I almost want to do a panel. I think we're just going to do a panel. So we'll bring up some subjects and talk about good plugins and what ones we don't know and diamonds in the rough, and just kind of talk through plugins and great uses for things like that. And then the following week, the business one. We talk about smooth projects from start to finish. So a lot of you have seen where Allie and I have presented about our process we go through for building websites with sitemaps and wireframes and all that. We'll kind of hit that again, but get more into some tools and how we keep track of tasks and credentials and keep things from falling through the cracks. So that should be a pretty good one there. So that's what's coming up. Some other news, I guess. A lot of you know Brad Iroff, passed away a few weeks ago. I encourage you, please. They have a GoFundMe set up for his daughter's college education. Today's free for you to attend, so whatever today's worth to you, $10, $20, whatever that value is, GoFundMe.com/Iroff and go contribute there. I know a lot of you already have, and none of the rest of you really have any excuse. Even if you don't know Brad, just consider today's toward that. Some other random news, just for those of you that are interested enough. Oops. I'm maybe switching from Verizon to T-Mobile. Some of you saw this on Facebook. I love spreadsheets. Susanna would be so proud. It's a shame she's not here, because she was a spreadsheet fan. But I just wanted to share, if you want to go, it's a public spreadsheet, you can see, but I've been testing Verizon versus T-Mobile speeds all over town just to see, because T-Mobile's a whole lot cheaper, but I always felt they were a lot lesser network. They're really not. The total average speed, Verizon got me 22.16 megs a second, T-Mobile's 22.11. And really at home and other places, T-Mobile's a lot better. So if you've been considering a switch, between those two at least, there's some good stuff. Linda?
How about when you get outside of city limits? That's the reason I have Verizon, because they're strong.
Correct, and that was my thought too. So we have some, if you go to the thing, you can see more of it. In downtown Cumming, T-Mobile's actually faster. Where were they? It's further down. There's LJ, Verizon was a little faster, but T-Mobile is strong. We have some in Birmingham. My wife traveled to Birmingham and other tests, and I mean, everywhere we went, T-Mobile was remarkably solid. So
T-Mobile was good in the mountains.
Yeah, at our cabin in the mountains there, Verizon was faster, but T-Mobile was more than adequate. So.
Can you create a Google map? So we can have
that'd be pretty cool, yeah. All the info's there. It's a public spreadsheet, so Aaron's going to create a Google map to...
Oh, you need the addresses, and yeah, we have a plugin to handle maps.
There you go, perfect. So we'll also have to plug in. But anyhow, so between those two, Sprint I think I've never really considered because I know they're a lot less. AT&T is probably right in the mix in terms of quality as well. But anyhow, just for those of you, I'm always sharing that kind of stuff. So real quick, let's get Carl to come up, tell us about ClickHost. As you know, he brings Tom and Chi once a month, so for those of you here today, he brought that last week. But come next month, you get some free Tom and Chi from him, but we still want to give him a minute to tell us how great ClickHost is.
Oh, thank you. Well, thank you. I'm Carl Backer. I'm the owner of ClickHost.com, and we are locally in Atlanta, and we support the WordPress community. We offer WordPress hosting, and we have three values: simplicity, honesty, and safety. So I'm very tech savvy, and I can dig and do SSH and all kinds of cool stuff. But for most people, that's just gobbledygook. So we try to make things very simple and understandable from a technology point of view. And security, we provide all kinds of add-ons that typically you would pay extra for as part of what we offer with our hosting. And yes, if you want the Tom and Chi, you'll have to come back next month. We'll have Tom and Chi, and we'll have some goodies that we give away. We did end up donating to Brad's GoFundMe as a Meetup group last time we met. So thank you for everybody that was here. Thanks, Vicky.
Awesome, thanks, Carl. All right, so let's get started. I think a few things to note. I know a lot of you have not been here before. We have a few new folks. Please interrupt along the way if you have questions. Just raise your hand. We're happy to discuss as we go, especially toward the end. I very much want it to be a discussion as we get into specific tools to use, because some I'm not as familiar with, and I know some of you are. I even have some of your names in here to call on, because I know you know these tools. To define these two terms, though, before we dig in, because they kind of use interchangeably, inbound marketing, marketing automation. They're really two related terms that aren't quite the same thing. Inbound marketing is really generating content to drive people to your site, putting out stuff that you think your ideal customer would want to see. They'll come to your site because of it and get them onto a list. And then marketing automation takes it from there and gives them drip email campaigns and ways to nurture it out from there. And we'll talk about kind of that whole flow. There's really other pieces in between. So we'll kind of walk you through that full cycle and then kind of go from there.
Yep, so that cycle that we're kind of going to start with is first we're going to talk about websites and exactly what some of the mandatories are to have on your website today to even make marketing automation and digital marketing even worth your time. If you don't have a website that's mobile responsive these days, it's probably worth to spend the money there rather than going straight to marketing automation. We're also going to talk about digital marketing and what all of those different terms are. Like Mickey said, the cycle between converting your users into leads and how to measure those results. And then finally, we'll look at those systems and tools that Mickey talked about.
Yeah, I always like systems and tools, so we'll spend a while in there too. But
through the other stuff.
yeah, well, really, the website part I will speed through because we talk about website stuff all the time. And for most of you, this is all second nature, so I don't want to bore you too much. But the general idea for your website these days, and really for the last decade or so, is the website to be the hub of your marketing efforts and everything else to be spokes driving in. So blogging, whether it's on your site or off, getting people in, email campaigns like with Constant Contact and MailChimp coming back, traditional media, we certainly do our share of print ads for folks and billboards from time to time, paid search, AdWords or Facebook ads, whatever, other social media coming in, and then keywords kind of throughout a lot of that just to help drive people in. So this is nothing new to a lot of you, I don't think, but this is kind of where we'll come from today, is ways to help drive people to your site and then figure out who they are and then continue to market to them. Website requirements, Ali alluded to. I think, again, a lot of you are very familiar with this stuff. Mobile responsive. I hope all your sites are mobile responsive these days. Content management system, of course, we recommend WordPress above all others, but you should have some kind of content management system of some sort. A blog or some way to keep content flowing all the time. Build a site with your ideal customer in mind. Build a buyer persona to say, all right, the ideal customer I have is, John, he's 36 and runs this company. Kind of build things toward that kind of persona. Keyword focused pages. We talked about keyword research before and stuff. Yeah, Lynn.
Are you recording this?
Sorry, yes. It's live streaming on Periscope now. We'll have the video up later along with the slides later today or tomorrow. So yeah, so you don't need to take notes too much, but certainly write down what you want. Keywords kind of filter through all this. We talked about keyword stuff before. I'm sure we will again. Talk to Jenny Munn if you need more keyword stuff. Her and I will be doing a whole day-long workshop this fall around keyword-related things. So we'll talk about that more in coming weeks. And then strong calls to action. If you get people on your site, you want to make sure they know what they need to do next. That's the biggest mistake a lot of folks make. They have great content, people get to the end of the page, and they're like, I guess I'm done, and they can leave. You want to keep them moving on to other pages or sign up for lists or whatever you want to do. So, that's websites in a nutshell. Again, I didn't want to take too long there because we talk about websites every week pretty much. So
Yeah.
we'll hit that in more detail as it goes.
Mickey,
Yeah.
the one thing I was looking for was an opt-in to your email list.
Okay.
That's what I always
Yep.
look for.
Yep.
Yep, and that's part of digital marketing in general, and,
Yeah.
and part of that systems that we want to make sure that we.
Yeah, that'd be the call. Yeah, that'd be one of the calls to action. So yeah, a very common one is sign up for the list or sign up to get this great piece. And Allie will talk about that in a few minutes. But yes, absolutely. And then at the end, we'll talk about the tools to use to make that actually happen. So
Yeah, really, digital marketing is expanding upon your calls to action. I mean, it's really kind of taking that concept of what am I trying to get a user to do on my website and expanding upon it. So, anybody here already used some kind of digital marketing tool or inbound marketing tool, custom CRM system, some kind of customer relationship management or retention?
a couple.
Yep, awesome. So getting your website up to speed is step one. So certainly stay there if you're there, but exploring ways to start converting users when they get to your site is digital marketing. So if you think back, gosh, maybe more than 10 years ago, pre-internet bubble where we were really focusing on TV ads, radio ads, print ads, cold calling, door-to-door sales, consumer reports. If users were trying to find information about a product or a service, these are either, they would either turn to consumer reports, they may, have a cold call and actually take action that way. These are not necessarily dead. I mean, Mickey was sold on T-Mobile through a door-to-door salesman, so they are not dead. But it did lead to relatively uninformed buyers. Today, it's so different. I mean, people know exactly what they want to do before they even start looking at your website. So people are using Google and Yelp and Kudzu and Facebook to look at reviews. They're trusting people who are leaving reviews on these platforms rather than the salesmen, rather than the testimonials that are on your website. They're going to this crowdsourced platforms, which leads to well-informed buyers. We really need to kind of build upon that and take these people who are searching for information and eager to get their hands on some kind of information and give it to them. So Mickey said, define your buyer persona. Figure out who your target audience is. Okay, step one, awesome. Now, what are they looking for? And what kind of information, what kind of lead magnet can we create to really pull them in and subliminally learn more about your company, but also give them some information that they're searching for. Which brings us to inbound marketing. So essentially, inbound marketing is the process of moving a stranger, somebody who doesn't know about your company yet, but is looking for data, looking for research, craving that information, move them through a sales process on your website in order to convert them to customers. So in short, you do this by creating and distributing content on the internet where your customers are looking. So like I said, defining that buyer persona, where your customer's looking, what are they looking for, and we can take it from there. You do this through social media, through online reviews, through blogging, through SEO, landing pages on your website, creating a landing page that gives them more information or gives them that lead magnet that you're providing. Forms for collecting their information, collecting their email addresses, and then ultimately email marketing or drip campaigns. So that's what we're going to look at today. We're going to start with the inbound marketing process. This is the attracting a customer or attracting a stranger, converting them into somebody who knows about your company, somebody who's at least familiar with your product. Closing through some kind of communications, whether it's ongoing emails or drips or social, and then continuously engaging them and hopefully upselling a little bit, providing them more information for them to really, engage with your company and learn more.
So attracting is the first one. Getting people to your site, and again, we've talked about this at other meetups, we'll kind of dig into it a little bit. Really creating that buyer persona and then generating content that is easy for them to find. And the easiest way to do that, as we've talked about many times before, is blogging. If you're not sure what to blog, figure out your customers' basic questions and needs and answer them. You can even answer them in the title of the post. Those of us that Google a lot know that you shouldn't type a question into Google because that doesn't always get the best results, but people do it a lot. And so if you have a post that has a question as the title and it matches the question they typed in, Google will say, wow, that is a perfect match for helping them out. But really every blog you post is an opportunity for someone to come to your website. We talked about indexing and some of that with Google before, but every page becomes a doorway to your site. So the more blog posts you have, the more pages you have, more quality pages, the better. Some stats on blogging. We never really got into this before. Yeah.
Do you suggest making the title of it actually the question, or do you?
You could, yes. Yeah, suggesting that could be a good idea. Again, it depends on your audience, but that title is probably the most important SEO piece of the page. And so if you think people are typing that question into Google, then you want to have that question as a title. Google will say, wow, that's a great answer to it. So we don't always do that, but you could, you know. And Jenny would be, yeah, you'd want to dig into keyword research and see what you really want to do, but that often is a good way to go. In general, companies that blog attract 126% more leads than those that don't. Some breaking that down further, the average company that blogs generates about 97% more inbound links, gets other people to link to them, which makes sense because we have great content. We link to other blogs all the time on ours because, hey, everyone go check this out, link off to them. So if you're blogging, people are probably going to link to you more often. Getting those inbound links is huge for ranking better in Google and generating that search traffic. That's an easy way to do it. You end up with, on average, 434% more indexed pages. And again, indexing, for those that haven't been here before for that, Google doesn't search the internet. Google makes a copy of the entire internet on their servers and updates it all the time. And to be on their server is the only way you'll ever come up in a search result, and that's called being indexed. So the more pages on your site you can have indexed on Google servers, the better. That's more chances for them to say, this one matches the search result, and get people to go there. So lots more indexed pages, and I think that number seems huge, but it makes sense. You know, most people have a 10-page website, then you have like 50 blogs. Hey, suddenly you have, you know, hundreds of percent more indexed pages. And then 55% more website visitors as a result of that. You have more pages, more links, you're going to get more traffic.
I have a question.
Yeah.
It's a toss out question.
All right, cool.
Is there anything in particular that you need to do to be indexed? Or do you just build your site and set?
Good questions. So do you need to do anything to become indexed? As a general rule, no. If you build a site, Google will find you, you'll get indexed. The more inbound links you have pointing to you, Google will think you're more important and index you faster and more frequently. And then in WordPress, there's the magic little checkbox that a lot of us are familiar with. In the settings general says, Google, do not index me, that people leave check by mistake sometimes, and they will listen to you. They will take your whole site out of Google for one little checkbox. But yeah, typically when you launch a site, you don't need to submit it to Google or anything like people did 15 years ago. They'll find you, but just get those inbound links. And again, you can attract them via blogging. We could spend a whole session talking about how to get inbound links because it's very difficult to do anymore. But there's usually some easy wins. You go to your Meetup profile with us and put a link to your site, and Google will see that link and go follow it over and go to your, if you're a member of a business association, if you know, there's lots of ways to get some easy ones. But yeah, you'll get indexed automatically if you don't screw it up, basically. So, keywords, you know, we've talked some keywords before, but finding the right keywords, the keywords that your buyer persona is searching for, not the words that you think they want to search for. I love Jenny Munn's example. If you've ever heard her talk before about horsenality, they had I think a horse trainer that they wanted to be ranked number 1 for horsenality because they help your horse develop a personality. But no one searches for that. They search for horse training. So she had to convince the client, use horse training on your site, and then later you can teach them about what horsenality is. But it's hard. You have to think through your customer's eyes and not through yours and the lingo you use and all that. And that's where you can go onto Google, and there's places you can research keywords and say, how many people search for horse training versus horsenality, and realize pretty quickly, okay, they need to do horse training. Again, we've done whole sessions on this before, we probably will again. Jenny has some good free resources at jennymunn.com you can download for that. But really just pick the right keywords and then generate content around those keywords. Whether it's questions you ask, if you have some good keywords, you can turn it into a question and give the answer, or you know, lots of different ways to do that.
Okay, so why do you rank 2 above me?
Yeah, I don't even know what I searched for there. I searched for something that made sure we were on top. So it's a very intentional search there. Yeah. That's good though. You can see I got you in there too though. So.
We probably did, we know.
Well, I was thinking that, but then why is she third? So yeah.
WordPress, yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
WordPress training or something.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. So.
And he blogs and I don't.
Oh,
There we go.
there you go.
Brooke blogs a lot. She's awesome. Another way to attract is social media. Again, we've done whole talks on this, and I'm not a social media expert per se, but certainly getting stuff, sharing awesome content on social media is a good way to get people to come to your site, to get them into this buying funnel. It can really help put a human face on your brand too. You don't want to be, you know, stodgy behind a logo or whatever. That gets you out there, gets you talking, interacting with folks. But again, it's just one of those pieces to draw people back to your site. Often involves Facebook. Pretty much for all this probably should involve Facebook just because they're so big, like them or hate them, that's where tons of people are. But it could be LinkedIn and Twitter and Google Plus and Pinterest and Instagram, and you know, figure out what works for you. Don't probably be on all 8 of them. You know, pick 1 or 2 that really work and hit it hard. So we've got people coming to the site now, hopefully, as you've dug into all these. You've got some people coming, so now we want to convert them in the next step here.
Yes, so convert. Once you've gotten all these visitors to your site, you need to somehow urge them to keep going. So you don't have all these, people are bouncing off your site. Keep in mind the attraction phase, if you already have something that you're giving away on your website, that could be a way to attract them to your website. Come and explore 10 ways of, improving your marketing automation or something to your website. So that could be something you're using to attract. Once you get them to your site, you need to convert them and gather their contact information. This valuable information can be used for drip campaigns and your emails that you're doing next. Examples of ways to convert your customers and to get their contact information are things that we're all familiar with. They're ebooks, they're white papers, they're an app. Download our app and learn more about how to improve your. I think we have what was the app that we just did for the Roostock.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
And then webinars. Webinars are giving away some information, slide decks, kind of like what we're providing today, would be a great way to bring people to your website as well. So all of these techniques, all of these different tactics are really great ways to convert people. So once you figure out what that document's going to be, what that lead magnet's going to be to put on your website, you need to create a call to action. So this goes back to determining what your calls to action are on your website. Here's an example of call to action that we pulled off of another company's website, HubSpot probably. 15 emails to keep clients happy. So you see these all the time, but this is a way for, if somebody's truly interested in improving their email marketing, they may be they were probably prompted to download this for free. Once they click this button, they're going to go straight into a landing page that's created to download this document. So you've all seen this before, but it's just a matter of really putting your brain into it and figuring out what is my buyer persona, what is my target audience searching for, and creating this information for them and giving it to them. So creating this landing page with a little synopsis of what you're giving away, a picture of the lead magnet, and then your form to actually collect the information. Yes.
As far as landing pages goes, I'm understanding, and please tell me if it's true, that you can actually create more landing pages than what you're actually going to put in your drop-down menus, but there are landing pages specific for a target.
Correct. Yeah, you want to build a landing page to speak directly to whoever you're targeting. It could be an ad, a Facebook ad driving people to it, or other ads, or some way you're driving people to a page. You want that page to speak to them. I'll build a page, say, hey, if you're a tall, bearded man, this is perfect, and Matt will land on it, and he'll love it. But if you hit that same landing page, you'll be like, well, I'm not a tall, bearded man, this is not any good. So yeah, building multiple ones that attract people different ways is great. And for those of you here last week, Aaron has a great little plugin to help build landing pages. It's called Blank Slate. I thought this was brilliant. So last week we talked about Beaver Builder, kind of a drag and drop builder for adding content to a page. He has a plugin called Blank Slate. So on any page you're on, you can say the template for this page is Blank Slate. It gives you a blank page, and then you use Beaver Builder or something just to drag pieces into place. Grab the form code from whatever tool you're using. We'll talk about that, the MailChimp code or the HubSpot code or whatever, and drop it in, and it becomes an easy way to build landing pages. And again, they don't have to go in your menu. They could.
Right. That's what I was going to say. Is typically they don't go in your actual navigation menu. They're accessed through some of those attraction pieces, that social media, really you don't do it through email because that's what you're trying to collect.
Yeah.
But those attraction pieces is where you can start pushing that link out to have people land on your page. Typically landing pages are created specifically for paid ad campaigns as well. So, if you're paying for AdWords and you probably as a result need a landing page, at least giving some information away based on that ad. So same
You
goes.
don't have Google saw it, so that's good.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah. And if it's not in your actual menu, that's okay. It'll still be counted.
And the other piece to keep in mind there too, if you're going to be driving paid ads to it, you don't have to worry about using the right words for SEO or anything, so you don't care how it ranks. You want to use the words that'll make it sell. So you usually use a lot fewer words on those kind of pages. We work with one client where we build a lot of times 2 copies of a page. One that's on their site for people to see that has the SEO stuff. Another one we tell it, don't even index this, Google, just ignore it. But it's short, to the point, gets right to what it needs to be, and then we drive paid ads directly to it. Because again, you need 350, 500 words to rank well in Google. Well, in this one we're driving people that are paid, so we don't need any words. We'll put just what we want to say and get it done.
Keep them happy.
Yeah, it can work well.
So it's better to drive traffic to a page that you're not utilizing like that as opposed to?
Could be better. Most of the time, we drive traffic to pages that we are utilizing on the site anyhow. And occasionally we'll build a side landing page. We don't do any paid ads for us. So if you're not putting paid ads toward it or a hard push on social media, it's hard to get much traffic to it. So we usually have it on the site, have it indexed, hope people find it in search, and then while they're on the page, oh, there's a form they can fill out and kind of walk through it that way. Aaron, did you have something else?
Well, I've heard that plugin needs some good reviews.
It'll help to get more popular, but it's a dead simple little plugin. It's brilliant. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. Blank slate in the repository, and the Beaver Builder that we talked about last week is a great combination to build landing pages in conjunction with the tools we talk about later in the form code they give you.
So
What was that second one? Slate and what else?
Beaver Builder.
Beaver Builder?
Yeah, it's a visual composer kind of thing. There's lots of, if you watch, we have the video up from last week. It may be worth watching, but we talked about a lot of the different Divi Builder and all the different page builders. Beaver Builder's pretty well regarded as the best one out there.
I think it's WP Beaver Builder.
Yeah. You just go to beaverbuilder.com and it gets there redirects to the WP one. But yeah, they have a free version that's somewhat limited, and then I think it's $99 for the cheap one, but that gives you on as many sites as you want, and you can pay more for other features that really you don't need. So $99 you can use it on all your sites, and it's not too bad. And then Blank Slate is free. I'm sure he'll take donations, but yeah.
So,
Yeah.
before you move on to Convert, I just wanted to mention that you were talking about buyer personas.
Mm-hmm.
There's also this concept about the buyer's journey,
Yeah.
and thinking about people as they're learning about you, for after they discover you and before they're actually ready to buy. There's different different kinds of information they want initially, and then they'll get, so okay, now I know what I want, but who's offering it? And now I know who's offering it, how much are they charging? So that decision-making process, you might want to think about what are the best kinds of content or places where people would be searching for that particular kind of information during their journey.
Yep. Very well said. Nick.
I can't understand why anybody uses lead pages. Is there something about lead pages that's?
You don't understand why anyone would?
Yeah. Why would you pick the lead pages when you just build a landing page on your website?
I think them and HubSpot encourages you to use their landing pages as well. And I think their thought is they've done a lot of testing and research. Like, we can lay it out, you can guess how to lay it out, and probably do pretty well. There's tools for A/B testing. They have millions of visitors. They've done the testing. They can give you some templates that are guaranteed to convert better. I think it's kind of the philosophy there. Really, I would encourage you, if possible, there's tools, I don't know one offhand, to do A/B testing. Build 2 copies of your page, or even 1 copy. WordPress can show different versions to different people and track how well it does. And you can do that in MailChimp and other things. I know in MailChimp you can send an email out and say, to the first 20%, send half of this title, half of this other title, and then whichever one does better, send that one to the rest of them. And you can do neat things for testing. But I think they've done, their philosophy, they've done a lot of testing for you. So, Jenny Munn.
I was just going to say, lead pages also, I don't know if anyone knows this, they have a super cool pop-up. So the form pops up, instead of driving you to a different URL, it's so quick and easy. So they have lots more easy ways to pop up the form, and they convert much faster.
What's the name of that?
Lead pages.
There's also a thing called Lucky Orange. That's a paid service that's actually kind of scary. It tracks your mouse so you can see where people are going.
Okay.
Like a video of where they're going. It's really weird. But I think they do the A/B testing also.
Gotcha.
What's that, Aaron?
Lucky Orange.
Lucky Orange, yes.
Josh Pollock has an A/B testing plugin too, but I don't.
A lot of them out there, I just can't vouch for any one over the
Formidable
other.
is just Form Builder's coming out with a new release that has A/B testing. in it.
Formidable, you said? Oh, so Formidable, the form building one, will have A/B testing built into it, so that's pretty cool. Now we'd be surprised if Gravity Forms and all their zillion extensions didn't have one in there somewhere, but. So we've qualified, time to close now. And this, again, close is kind of relative depending on what your business is. There may never really be a close and just kind of keep going, but you want to really transform those leads into customers, at least purchase something from you, whether it's, and this is where the automate, so we're kind of done with the inbound marketing, now we're kind of switching to a marketing automation. Now we have them on our list, now how do we do it? And like Karen said, you want to be careful at this point, because if you've thought through your persona and their journey, you'll know what they probably need to know next is this, and probably after that is this, and we're not going to get into that because that's different for all of you, but that's where this gets challenging. The tools are fairly straightforward. It's thinking through thinking through that whole process and then building all the content for it and writing the emails, and there's a lot of work behind it. But this is where that work really starts for that. So a big one, of course, is email marketing. MailChimp is a great one to go with, and we'll talk about specific ones. But now that you've got their information, you have to send consistent emails, whether it's weekly or monthly, or if you set up a drip campaign. We had a SEO one we did for a while. It was 6 steps to better SEO, and you get an email every other day for 2 weeks, on tips for increasing SEO on your site. Whatever it is, you get it set up. Again, we'll talk through tools and how best to do that. But email marketing is kind of the main crutch you use once you get this stuff going. You can use social media and some of that to some degree, but email is the best way to reach specific people at specific times based on where they are and what you need them to do. At this point, you should be keeping track of your interactions with folks through some kind of prospect list, through a CRM. And again, we'll talk through tools in a little bit. Thinking things like HubSpot CRM or Salesforce or contactually, we'll get into a lot of these. Using the data in there, you can decide what you want to do and how to reach them and what you need to do next. Like to Karen's point, if we say, okay, 3 days later we're going to send them this email, if you have the right system in place, you can say, wow, I sent them the email, they opened it, then they looked at these other 2 pages, maybe I need to change my track now because they looked at those and send this other email instead, and there's systems in place to do that. And again, it's fairly easy to do, it's more difficult to figure out what all those points are and get it all set up. Infusionsoft, I think, does the best job of complicating that. It's just because you can see they have all the arrows and stuff going everywhere, and that's how it looks. MailChimp and others do that, but they make it look a little more straightforward, a little less powerful too. But it does get very messy in there. And it's great to say, wow, if they go here and visit 2 pages, send them this, and then you got to build that. And you also got to think about these other pages, and it can take a while to build all the content, but you got time. Work on it a little bit at a time, keep making it better, more refined, and keep on rolling.
Yeah, and the whole point of this, this whole closing phase that Nikki just went through. Sorry, go back to that. Yeah. So the whole point of the whole closing phase that he just went to is to slowly drip them into making a decision with you. So he's talking about the SEO campaign that we sent out for 6 weeks, where you learn something new about SEO each week. Really, the end email there should be a conversion point to close the sale. So you learned all this about SEO, awesome, now we're here to help you, or just, this is where you're really trying to get them to make a decision at the end. So really thinking through the strategy of what your buyer's decision is going to be along the way after they say, yes, I want 10 tips on how to improve my email to my customers. Then what are they going to want to learn? Okay, let's think through this. Let's think through 5 emails that they may want to learn. And then that last email, let's try to convert them into something that's really going to sell.
Yeah, it could be selling at that point, or to Karen's point, it could be, okay, at the end, they're probably going to want to know more about this next step in their journey. So sign up for this, and you can see the pricing models of things out there.
Right.
You can just keep going through as long as you've thought through that.
Keep a call to action in every single email. Make sure you do have a hard close, a hard sale, a hard something at the end.
Okay,
Yes.
definitely.
Do you know what a good close rate is for a drip campaign like that? Like, is it 20% good, or is 50% good, or do you know what?
Karen, what do you got?
It really depends on what you're trying to sell. If you're trying to sell something that's really expensive, most people won't buy unless they actually know you and know they're having a conversation with you.
But with a good email campaign, would that, you get to know your...
Then your sell is for them to actually talk to you.
Okay.
They're not going to sign up and pay $1,000 online for a program unless they talk to you.
Yeah, typically, the more expensive it is, the longer this campaign lasts, and then what are you measuring close rate on? Like no, yes, so it's 2%, but it was successful, or is that one big yes versus the others? And
Determining what success means for the campaign would be the first step. Determining what your goals are, and having that phone call, having them pick up the phone to call you might be your call to action.
Yeah,
so
that might
really,
be a yes, yeah.
Right, determining that call to action for the drip campaign. It might not be, hey, give us your credit card. It's probably, hey, have a conversation with us.
And even the phone call could end up being a no once you talk to them, but at least it was successful to get you that call, which is worth a lot. Even if that falls through, the campaign was still successful to get you that solid lead that you did or didn't.
All the ambiguous.
Have you heard anything? I went through a marketing automation seminar, and they were saying, in your example, you have 5 emails going out. You need to do a different close at a different push level each time, because if you come on hard, each email, all they think you want is sales, and they go away quickly.
Right.
So changing your close or changing your call to action,
Yeah.
and sometimes making it very oblivious almost in the email at times, and then at the end come on harder,
Yeah.
because they're still there.
Right.
That's my thought as well, is
Yeah.
just kind of give them the information they're looking for. They're not looking to be sold to, they obviously signed up for this to learn.
Right.
So it becomes an educational piece for them. So keep in mind, I mean, put yourself in the shoes of your consumers and your leads. You know, nobody wants to be sold to. So it's more, I mean, it's really the whole education model. You know, we're here to educate people and help them on their journey, help them on their buying journey. And if Green Melon or your company or, you know, plays a part in that, then you're more trusted. And it's really about establishing trust and just trying to make yourself, like, you know, I mean, half these people will probably have received your email, close it, a year later, they're like, you know who really knew their stuff? It was this company, and they'll come back around. So it's more just planting the seed.
And then you want to be top of mind when they're thinking about that.
Exactly.
That's why you keep doing it and offering stuff,
Yeah.
even if they don't say
Right.
yes.
Right.
It's stay
Because
top of
sooner or
mind.
later, they're going to be ready.
Right, which is where engaging comes in. So even after your drip campaign has happened, even after you go through this, you know, you've planned out 6 months of email drips that are tastefully written with very subtle but strong calls to action, and you know, you've gone through all of the strategy, it doesn't end then. Maybe you did convert them into a customer. Awesome, it still doesn't end then. You know, you still need to follow up with email newsletters or maybe even surveys to say, like, tell us more about what you want to learn so we can in turn create more content for you. You know, you're always, the more information you can get out of your buyers' heads, the better. So don't just stop and go quiet. Just keep that nice little drip, that little trickle of information going to your consumers and your leads all the time. Yeah, let's see, I have the slide. So
Yeah.
surveys, yeah, sending out surveys, how did we do? So that's more, once you close a deal, follow up with them, keep the conversation going, how can we be better for you? Always encourage your customers to review you on all the different local platforms that you're on. This is so huge. You know, people trust what is on Yelp before they make a decision. So
Google trusts what's on Yelp too to rank you higher. It's a big piece of that. Stephanie?
One of the things that I've kind of had a conflict with myself is when I send that email to get a review, is like, where do I send them? Because I don't want to say, you can review me here and here and here and here and here and here and here, and then the client gets overwhelmed and they don't do anything.
Right.
So is there like I just picked one that I thought was best. Is there one that's stronger, or is there, do you do like a couple and say, pick your favorite one, or what are your thoughts on that?
We usually say Yelp and Google. We say, here's our, and give them a link to both, and most people will pick one. If you send that to me, I'm going to say, great. I'm on Google all the time, Google. Send it to my wife, she'll say, great. I'm on Yelp all the time, she'll do it. You know, hopefully with just the two, with a link directly to them, works out well. But yeah, you make a good point. Other people may want others, but my opinion is those two are far and away the most important two. Jenny, agree?
Yeah, and it really depends on your industry too. So if
Yeah.
you're a local business, Google Plus is really important. It just makes it a lot easier. You don't have to have a Google Plus account to add a review. So you can add a review there. So for
Yes.
lawyers, Algo might be really important. So you kind of have to know, and you can always repurpose it back to your website. So it kind of depends on your industry.
yeah.
Yeah, but certainly fewer is better. Because yeah, like to her point, if you send out review us on any of these 50 sites, they'll say, I probably should. I'll get back to it. And
Yeah, or just
you
say,
can
you
get
know,
back to it.
pick the one you're most comfortable on, and will you please submit a review? Here's the places where you can go.
Because in theory, people are already logged into Yelp or Google or whatever, and hopefully if they say, oh, Google, they go right to it, they're already logged in, they say they were great, 5 stars. I mean, it's 30 seconds if you can set it up easy enough for them to get through. Linda?
I'll walk out for a second. My reviews are online on my website. Is that not the best place to ask for them?
Correct. It's not bad. I mean, if they're on your site, some social proof is not a bad thing. But one, people know you can make those up much easier than you could on Yelp or something. Yelp is much more stringent, and Google doesn't care about those at all. Google says how many reviews they have on Yelp, how many they have on Google Plus, how many on super pages. They look at all those, and you rank a lot higher or lower based on number of reviews there. But like Jenny said, you can repurpose stuff. You get a great review on Yelp, put it on your site, and say, hey, Susan B said they were wonderful and helped,
So is there a way for me to convert the stuff that's on the website over to Yelp?
No.
Not write to customers and ask them?
Yeah, you have to ask them. And do it slowly. If you've not done any online reviews before, don't email 200 people and say to do it at once, because Yelp will say, wow, 300 people just left reviews today. That's all shady, so they'll just kick it out. So just...
Well, I mean, it's been very hard to get all these reviews.
Yeah, oh, it has, yeah. So just a couple a week. I have a task that comes up every week, or every couple of weeks that says, hey, go email, and I have a list of other clients I still want to get back to. And so I just do like one a week, say, hey, would you mind real quick? And most of the time they do. So just set you a little recurring task, whatever system you use every Tuesday, email the client, just have a list in there and keep paring down lower and lower.
Right.
Jenny, you're somewhere
I just thought of another one, the knots. I have a client in the wedding industry,
Oh, there you
and their clients all go to the knot first, because they have some reviews there, they show up first on the knot, and then they repurpose it. So you really have to know where does your target market go and hang out.
Yeah.
That's just,
Well, and that brings up two other angles to this, I guess, really is, they show up, the reviews on the knot don't help them show up in Google necessarily, but it helps them show up on the knot more.
absolutely, that's
so-
a huge search engine.
Right, so things like that. And so that's things like Pinterest. Having pins on Pinterest doesn't help your site rank better, but if your pin shows up and you rank well on Pinterest, then people may click through. So there's secondary advantages you can get through all this too. But the key is just being out there for people to find you wherever they are. Our clients aren't on the knot, but if you're a wedding planner, they are. So, finding the right place is huge.
Yeah, and you alluded to social.
Oh, yeah.
Social's a place to keep the engagement going. And really just maybe one of your calls to action in one of your drip campaigns was to follow you on Facebook and become engaged on Facebook. So maybe that's where you're picking up the communication and keeping people in touch. So just so many different you really just need to literally figure out your roadmap that you want people to go. And there will be splits and forks, and you just have to figure out at what point and what messages you say at each one of those splits and forks.
Cool. So the next big piece is reporting. I won't spend a whole lot of time here because it's so different depending on what tools you use, but just a few examples and a few ones we look at often. Google Analytics, of course, is a big one. You should be looking at that on your site. I think probably all of you have that on your site. Somewhat of an art to analyze what's going on there, but can be useful. Again, we've done full sessions on this before. I'm sure we will again. But figuring out, down the left-hand side of Google Analytics, you can see who your visitors are, how they got there, and what they looked at. And those are huge, to know who's actually coming to your site. You can look at their average gender and ages coming to your site, where they came from. Did they come from Google? Did they come from your email campaigns? How long did they stick around? Lots of great stuff in there. And I always tell folks, even if you don't have Google Analytics, you're not sure if you want to do any of this, go load it on your site today. It's free and relatively easy to do. And that way, in a few months, when you decide, hey, now I want to get started, you'll have a couple months worth of data to look at to give you some idea of where to get started. Through your email campaigns, here's a look at some MailChimp stats. This is going to be huge with your inbound marketing because you're almost certainly going to be sending emails as part of it and analyzing what's happening with those emails. What % open them? What % bounce when you get marked as spam? What did they click? Who clicked what? This will tell you down further. I cut it off, but it'll say, Allie opened the email. She clicked on this link in it, and Chantel opened the email and clicked on that link, and you can see a whole lot of very detailed things in there about what's going on. And again, the mail ones are pretty similar across the platforms. It's open rate, who clicked what, and all that. But I like MailChimp just because they do, for low-end kind of stuff, they do a very nice job. And then you can look at stats through your CRMs. This is through SharpSpring. We'll talk a bit more about later. It's one we use. You can see what happens on your site. So in this case, this person had received our monthly email for a while. And at one point, I noticed he came to our site. So I clicked on that on whatever that was, March 27th. Said, wow, he looked at a ton of stuff on our site, so now I know what's going on with him. I could have triggered things off of that. I know who it was. I know what they looked at. You can say, hey, if someone clicks from an email and looks at the who we are page, maybe we can trigger this other email to go out. We don't have a lot of that set up because I worry about triggering the wrong things on some of those. But I noticed it. This SharpSpring told us, hey, this person's been on your site a bunch lately, so it was a lead. We reached back out to him and said, hey, I pretended I didn't know this, but hey, just wondering where you are and just checking back in. We had more of a conversation because we knew what was going on. And again, most of these systems will have some degree of that. This is kind of where MailChimp doesn't quite go far enough, and bigger systems will handle it, but bigger expenses come along with it too. Through any of these systems, we won't get into it too much today just for lack of time, but most of these inbound marketing systems will have lead scoring, where you can assign a number to a lead. Say if they open an email, give them 5 points. If they open an email, click on a page, give them 10 points. If they fill out this form, give them 20 points. If they download a PDF, give them 25 points. You can kind of get a running score. So you see who's coming to our site and scoring well that keeps looking at stuff more and more, and they become hotter leads, and you can do things based off that. But again, all these systems we're about to get into handle that different, so I don't want to get too much in the weeds on any one particular thing, because which system works best is probably going to be different for almost everyone in here based on features and price and all that kind of stuff. So let's get into that. So lots of systems and tools to look at. Feature sets of these vary wildly, as do the prices. They're in random order. I started just plugging in ones, and I'm like, how should I arrange them? I'm like, I won't. I'll just leave them random because I can do by price or by features, and it'd just be horrible. So we're just kind of in random order here. Some are just really CRM, just kind of capturing your customer data and all that. Some are more just email. Some are the full gamut. Some you can get into task management a little bit, which I've tried to stay out of today. We'll talk more about that next month. We'll talk about that a lot, and we'll hit it more. And I've tried a lot of these, but not all of them, so I really do want your feedback as we get into these for things that are good and bad, and we get to the end, if we missed any. You know, the RSVP form, you guys, a lot of you put in systems you use, so I've included them in here, even if I don't know what they are. So hopefully you'll chime up then to help us figure that out. So yeah, MailChimp is first. MailChimp we like simply because it's easy and the starting price is beautiful. It's free for really quite a large percentage of people. I think you get 2,000 emails on your list or something for free. Something remarkable. And they do a good job. Goes way up to a couple $100 a month. It's wonderful for automation, wonderful for drip campaigns. You can just kind of drag and drop and say, send this email, and then 2 days later send this email, then 4 days later send this email. Do some great things. Doesn't do as well as tracking on your site, kind of like we saw in that example a few screens back for this kind of thing. It does a little bit of that now, but not a whole lot. But again, given the price, it's pretty awesome. The free one doesn't do the drip campaigns. You have to pay, I think, $15 a month to add the automation pieces, but still, $15 a month, as you'll see in a few minutes here, is nothing. So MailChimp is awesome. Further thoughts? I know you're, Karen, I know you're a big MailChimper, so further thoughts on why everyone should use that? Yeah, it's Atlanta-based. That's worth something there too.
It's really a lot of value. You know, you pay for some additional function. You start paying the $50 a month, but then you can get all kinds.
You get a whole bunch of stuff for the $15 a month.
And MailChimp
and manuals in there.
MailChimp integrates with a lot of other apps.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
And with Zapier, or if this, then that, you can integrate even more.
Yeah, so good point. So there's tools such as Zapier and one called if this, then that.
IFTTT.
Yeah, IFTTT. In MailChimp, a lot of these will integrate with those, but MailChimp integrates with them fully. So you can say, if someone does something, then send it to Zapier and go here. Or you can say, really it's the other way around. Someone signs up on my email list, send it to Zapier, and then from there you can say, what do you want to do? So I can say, if someone signs up on the mail list, go to Zapier and send it to my watch. You know, something silly that MailChimp, that'd be silly all the way around, but things like that. You know, you can do things, if someone signs up on MailChimp, go post on my Instagram. I mean, you can do all kinds of weird connections. You know, I wouldn't do either of those, but lots of neat things.
I kind of like to have cascading lists. So they first opt in, and I put them on a list.
Okay.
And then you send them an email and you ask them, hey, are you interested? You know, as we talked about the buyer's journey. Well, if they opt in, if they do that activity, then I use Zapier to move into another list.
There you
so there's
go.
ways you can do the pipeline.
Yeah, very cool. Stephanie.
Another thing with MailChimp is for really, really small clients, you can pay per email. So if somebody's not sending enough emails to go cover that $15 a month, you can just put in like $10 or $15, and it may last a client 2 or 3 months.
Huh,
And
interesting.
then
Okay.
when they get to that, like it's cheaper to do the $15 a month, then you can upgrade the account.
Gotcha.
So it's good that way as well,
Cool.
as far as payment.
Yeah.
So I have the free version of MailChimp, and I had it to send out every time I do a new blog post. But
Okay.
that's like a boring subject line. Is there any way to change that? Because it just says, here's the latest blog post. Is there any way to
Karen.
change that?
You're not
Yeah.
even, yeah.
Yeah, when you set up your campaign, you send it out, it asks you what type of what subject line.
In the free version?
Yeah. You may have to, down the bottom, it'll tell you where you are in the sequence of setting up. You may have to jump back to an earlier stage to see that.
Yeah, along the bottom it gives you the stages and you can jump around the different pieces. But yeah, that's one nice thing it does. She was saying, for those that didn't hear, you can set it up to look at your website feed of posts, and every time you have a new blog post, to automatically send it out to your list, whoever's opted in for that list of posts. So, good way to do that. Marketo is a big one, very well known, wildly expensive, but I've not really used it. Anyone have any experience with Marketo? No? Nobody? Jenny, no? Brooke, Brooke, you did a little bit, right?
Very small, but yes.
Okay. But yeah, again, it's the price point, they start at $1,200 a month and go on up. So yeah, you got to be seriously invested. But again, for the sake of including things, I wanted to. MailChimp looks even better now. But yeah.
Marketo, though, because they're so expensive, they have a staff, and you know they're a good place to go read their blogs. They're state of the art.
I get their drip campaigns.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, watch what they do and emulate it. Just don't pay for their.
Yeah, a lot of these big ones, yeah, the Marketo and HubSpot, and some of those, they have tons of great free resources you can use and then apply in your own smaller system.
Yeah,
to get things
great
done.
education.
Yep. Salesforce. They have a $25 a month CRM that I have played with, just as we were looking at CRM systems. And it's okay. It's not great. I think it's made to be tried out, and then you'll want to use everything else. But anyone else use Salesforce for bigger things? Heather?
That's our CRM.
Yeah, okay, yeah, you got that going. Cool. Thoughts? Yeah, okay.
It's great for CRM, I mean.
Yeah,
It's a lot of overkill
You
for a
can
small business.
customize
right.
it.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
most of us,
that's
it's gonna be
fine.
overkill, but
Yeah,
again,
you can customize it for anything and everything, but we pay off the ones in class.
yep, yeah, that's,
It's
yeah, it
difficult
gets
to
very
convert
expensive.
When you leave, it's difficult to convert from their format to the new format.
Okay, they keep you kind of locked in too, yeah. Good to know. Yeah,
I think they have a discounted or free rate for some nonprofits.
okay.
Yes.
Our hands-on Atlanta uses them, all hands-on around the country.
Gotcha, okay. Okay.
The one Salesforce job we've done was a nonprofit, they got a discount.
Yeah, so there are, again, nonprofit discounts, but yeah, for most of us, it's overkill, but again, for the sake of, I want to include all these options out here again. Some are too big and some maybe a little better. Next one's a little bit better. I haven't used them in years, but they're pretty solid. Aweber, I haven't used it enough to know. I always used to think of it as MailChimp, more powerful but more confusing, but I think MailChimp has become more powerful now too. Emery, you agree? Is Aweber more powerful still?
I mean, Aweber's okay, not thrilled with it, but I'm getting tempted to go back to MailChimp.
Gotcha. What made you go to Aweber?
I'm not really sure, it was so long ago they got me hooked, you know?
Gotcha.
It's like, I can't feel like I can't leave.
Yeah,
I
understood.
started with Aweber when it was brand new and grandfathered in for life, so I still use it.
One thing,
Yeah, go ahead.
one thing I found about Aweber is that you create multiple sign-up forms per list.
Okay.
And there'd be a way to track then which form was used,
Okay,
you know, to
gotcha.
see what, you know, you run a special and which special.
Yeah, driving to the same list but using different ways so you can track which, yeah. Very
You can
good.
do that with MailChimp, but it's, you gotta know a little bit more how to do it versus Aweber just gives it straight up, drags
Yeah,
it out.
it's a little more straightforward.
Gotcha, cool. Jenny?
I chose Aweber over MailChimp because they let you send out affiliate links. And a couple of years ago in internet marketing, MailChimp will not let you do affiliate.
They do, I think they do now.
They do now, okay, so that's
Yeah.
why I went Aweber. I did love it when I got it.
Gotcha, cool. Linda?
I signed up for it one time, I was preferring MailChimp or Constant Contact, but, this guy wanted me to do these very specific form letters that you send out that draw you in, and Aweber is the only one that has that format. So that's, I don't know how to describe it, but it's almost like a squeeze page.
Gotcha.
You know?
Okay, cool. Infusionsoft, their prices, I had to look it up, they're between $200 and $600 a month and $700 to $1,700 to get started. So a little more affordable than some, but still, you gotta be pretty invested. So Jenny Munn, tell us all about Infusionsoft, how much you love it.
Dang it. I have Infusionsoft, but I'm not super happy about it. But I do have it, and it's super robust. So I went from Aweber to Infusionsoft because I wanted the ability to do more online stuff. So I started with Aweber when I sold a little $50 ebook, and I just needed some autoresponders. So I think one of the best examples is for our boot camp coming up, Mickey, why Infusionsoft is so good. So I can send an email out to my whole list. If 60% of the list clicks on an email, then they go to another email just for them who clicks. The 40% who didn't click gets a whole other set of emails. Then if they click, then I can do an action to them. So you keep kind of driving people who keep raising their hand along the conversion funnel. So it's just a lot more robust, but Karen, it's a lot more set up. What do you say in each message? But it can be super powerful because you don't have to send all people on your list the same message over and over. You keep getting people. So you need a specific marketing activity that helps drive. If I have a webinar, again, I would send it out to my list. People who clicked on the link but didn't register, I will send them an email to try to encourage them to register. People that did register, then they'll just get the trip. So it's very robust if you want to go to more online marketing work.
Very cool. There's Infusionsoft. Next is SharpSpring. This is the one we've switched to a few months ago. Fairly expensive. It's $500 a month and $1,800 up front. But we were looking at HubSpot, and we'll get to HubSpot in a little bit. It's very similar to HubSpot. HubSpot is a good bit more expensive than that, so this is kind of the cheaper version of it. It allows, like we saw that screenshot a few pages ago, you can see where people go, you can send emails out, you can automate a lot of things based on what they do inside of emails. It has a full CRM. I mean, it has kind of all the pieces you need in one. A little bit buggy, I'll say, still. They're kind of working through that. I think that's part of where the price break comes in. I feel like HubSpot and some of those are a little better, but you're paying a lot more for. The thing I like too with this is the $500 a month lets us have our account plus up to 5 clients inside of it, their own separate little accounts. Whereas HubSpot and some of the other, most of them, you sign up for HubSpot, and you pay for it, say, our client, you should use this too, they have to sign up again and pay their $800 a month, and then, you know, so it's awesome, but it becomes more cost prohibitive. This makes it a little easier to get clients going. We can help clients do some basic stuff for less money than thousands and thousands a month, you know, through a bigger platform. So pretty solid, worth checking out. Again, it's fairly expensive, but it certainly seems to fit our needs pretty well so far. High-Rise, I mentioned, it's more just a CRM. Linda, I think it's what you use for your stuff. Does it do any email stuff? I think it's just a CRM, yes? Yeah, so just a CRM, but again.
You can actually email out of the program, we just don't use it.
Gotcha.
I want all my history of my emails in one place.
Okay.
And if I do it out of Highlight, then that necessary.
So where do you email out of?
I have my domain in Gmail.
Gotcha, okay.
Am I saying it right? I'm not real
I'm not quite sure, yeah.
What do you do? Do you do any kind of email campaigns through?
I do some content contact.
Okay, there you go. That's, yeah.
I'm definitely lacking.
No, that's fine. I just was trying to understand how to write.
Hang on, well, finish your thought, yeah. Sorry. Okay, Jenny was next here, yeah.
I love High-Rise, so it's a CRM, and what you can do is you can DCC your High-Rise account, and it'll drop that person's email into their account, so you can have a running account. So it's got like a hidden email using that for DCC, but it's a great CRM, you can tag people multiple ways, you can do follow-ups, so I go to my week's, if I follow my week's follow-ups, then I would go there and do follow-ups and change it. It's very powerful for CRM, but it does not do emails.
And I guess to that point too, SharpSpring, I know others do. In SharpSpring, I have it connect to my email account, so it just is always watching my inbox and adding things in for me without having to DCC, which is kind of nice. Did you have something else, Karen?
I was gonna say, you can track all of your emails in High-Rise,
Gotcha.
but then, and you can also export a list of people, like if you keep characteristics, like these people are all at this point in my buyer's journey. You can export that list, import it into MailChimp, and then send them a particular campaign. Gotcha. But it's a manual hookup, I think, unless maybe you could do it with Zapier, but that's the advantage of Infusionsoft, is it's all under one umbrella.
Yeah, that was what we were looking for, something that has it all in one place, so we have less Zapier and all that going, it's there.
Yeah.
They all talk to each other. You get a little better tracking and stuff. Now, what do you use for CRM?
I use Insightly right now.
Okay, yeah, I looked at Insightly a good bit. It's pretty cool.
I think one thing you need to think about when you're looking at all these tools is what will talk to other things. Because some of these tools are like little silos and you can't get anything out and you can't get anything in. Mm-hmm. So then you have to go and do this manual activity to get stuff from one place to another.
Yep.
So I look at everything, whether I can integrate it with MailChimp using Zapier or just directly. That's my criteria.
And in Insightly, you can send an email to a specific project, can't you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Insightly is not on our list. It probably should have been, but that's another good one.
Yeah.
I added a bunch here.
There's a lot, though.
There's so many out there. Yeah, that was kind of my struggle. I kept kind of throwing them in to see. But lead outcome, Nikki Pink, tell us about lead outcome.
Lead outcome was described to me as being a big Infusionsoft.
Okay.
I haven't used it a ton. It does lead scoring.
Okay.
It does it does the tracking. If you click here, send them on this list and then do this thing.
Gotcha.
But it doesn't do any e-commerce.
Okay.
Which I guess Infusionsoft does.
Gotcha.
So, I mean, I like it. I don't use it the way I should, but for no other reason than I don't have.
Yeah, and it seems pretty powerful for.
They're local too. They're Alpharetta.
Okay.
The guys are nice. They're doing growth pains. I think growing pains.
Gotcha.
And in fact, I think that the owners of that are always willing to come and talk.
Oh, cool.
Had a couple of them show up at a couple of networking events.
Oh, cool. All right. It could be good to know. Yeah. Agile CRM. I played with this one for a while. It has a ton of potential, and it is just buggy as heck. You just can't get their act. I emailed them a few times and said, yeah, we know about this bug, we know about that, but they're busy adding other features. For the price, it's free or $47 a month. It is very powerful. It's just, I couldn't get past, things just didn't work the way they should. It was just, I kept thinking, what am I doing wrong? And I emailed and said, no, we have a bug here and a bug there and a bug there, and I read around more, and it's just,
mental energy is just not worth it.
Right, yeah, it's just not worth it. I'm hoping if they spend the next year not adding new features and just kind of getting their act together, it could be pretty awesome, but for now it's not really. It's so good on paper though. Pardot, anybody use Pardot? I feel like it's probably more expensive, well I know it's more expensive than what we need. Cliff Seal works there. I know very little about them. Anybody, Emery, Carl, have you guys never? No, okay. So Pardot's one out there, but yeah, okay. Sales Fusion, Sierra, I don't think it's here. Sierra Moore had said she uses this. I looked at it, it's really pretty powerful. You would hope so for that much, but they're 500 or more a month and 1,000 to 2,500 to start. They seem quite all-inclusive, like a SharpSpring or HubSpot or some of the bigger ones. I was hoping she'd be here to tell us more, but she's not, so yeah, Sales Fusion is out there. ProsperWorks is one we used for a while. It's more of just a CRM. It's phenomenal for what it is. It's very, talk about bugs. It is flawless pretty much on bugs. Just doesn't do the marketing automation email pieces. It's great for CRM. It has a great like flow chart. If we track where people are on a project, we say, okay, Emery's gone from lead to this, to that, to the other. We see what's going on. It syncs with my Google Apps. I mean, they do a lot of things right. But again, we talk about, okay, well, we need to do email separate, so we need to get lists out of here and put them into MailChimp or set up Zapier. Like, just let's get something that does it all for us. Since that's kind of why we left them. But I was really very happy with what they provided. It's a good service, maybe a good place to start if you need a CRM just to keep track of customers coming in and who's what, and remembering where you met them, and keeping track of all that stuff somewhere. It's worth looking at, prosperworks.com. Mautic is very interesting. I use them for a bit. I find it interesting because they have Mautic.org, which is free software you can download and use on your own server, and Mautic.com, which is a hosted version of their product that you can use on their server, which is just like WordPress. So I thought it was interesting. I think it's actually a Joomla or Drupal guy that started it. It's a cool product, worth checking out. Again, it fell a little bit short. Instead of using, it didn't do everything for you, again, because on your server, you don't want to be sending out thousands of emails from your web server, and they don't want sending from yours. So it hooked into Mandrill and did some other things. You had to hook into a lot of other things to kind of make it all work, and it got just a little cumbersome. But Mautic.org, again, is free to download, put it on your server. I just tried the Mautic.com for $10 a month. I figured just to play with it rather than downloading and configuring all that stuff. It's pretty cool. He has some great resources out there about inbound marketing tips and tricks, and we've talked about Marketo and some of those, but yeah. So, inbound marketing automation, we'll define into lots of things. For those of you that don't know us, Green, and we have Brooke and Chantel back there. This is our picture we just took last week. We do all kinds of WordPressy things for WordPress, I think 12 and a half years, 7, so